Why is the press and the palace refusing to look or comment or report on Meghan Markle's links to the same individual? And most importantly, her relationship, her close personal relationship with Prince Andrew.
It was meant to be an ordinary Saturday night in. Takeaway on the coffee table, socks on, SNL on in the background. Nothing serious, nothing historic, just background noise whilst you scroll your phone. But not this time. Because this time, SNL didn't just crack a cheeky royal joke and move on. They reached straight into Meghan Markle's carefully curated wellness duchess bubble and popped it on live television.
And this is sweet. Meghan Markle said she has a finger they can use if they...
Wasn't there some speculation that she was on Epstein's yacht at one point in time? There was like photos with her and Prince Andrew way back in the day when she was like in her early 20s.
One punchline, one reaction from the crowd. And suddenly the internet was no longer asking, is Meghan misunderstood? It was asking, have we been sold a version of Meghan that's missing a few crucial chapters?
Why aren't they pushing this nuclear button and just let the world know about Meghan Markle?
The one person who I think has been really happy about all of this is Prince Andrew. I'm guessing that he has been nudging the royal family. Can you believe what Meghan did, huh? Can you believe it?
Tonight, we're unpacking the SNL joke that had the studio howling and allegedly had Meghan fuming in Montecito. The resurfaced yacht photos that social media will not let go of. Why Meghan's silence might be the loudest part of this story. And the question nobody really wants to answer. What happens when a carefully built public image starts to crack on camera? Grab your tea, because this isn't just about a joke. It's about timing, reputation, and a past that refuses to stay politely in the background.
Wow. It is interesting how she's exposing her as a yacht girl, someone who was paid off by rich men to go and hang out.
It suggested that the then Meghan Markle likely spent time with Prince Andrew and Jeffrey Epstein before she even met Prince Harry.
Let's start in New York. The lights go dim, the music fades, and Colin Jost strolls out for Weekend Update. On paper, he looks harmless. Suit, smirk, married to Scarlett Johansson, very safe white man reads autocue energy. And then he drops this line about the UK and America. The trade deal is simple. America keeps Meghan Markle. For half a second, the room freezes. You can almost feel the crowd asking themselves, are we allowed to laugh at that? And then they do, loudly. They're not laughing at her title. They're not laughing at Harry. They're laughing at the idea of Meghan Markle, the way she's seen now in the culture, not as a fairy tale duchess, but as a punchline. And before the laughter even dies down, Colin twists the knife, but only if she deletes her Instagram again.
You know, I mean, she used to be on Deal or No
infiltrated?
Deal. Look, she was on Deal or No Deal.
Yeah, that's right.
Listen, I brought Meghan Markle, whatever her name is, to my Deal or No Deal celebrity golf tournament. She was one of my Deal or No Deal girls that were, she was a caddy for all of my...
That's the part that really stings, because that's not a political joke, that's a brand joke. He's mocking the reboot after reboot, the rebrand after rebrand, the endless new era statements and soft relaunches. It's the comedy world saying, we see the strategy now, we see the performance. And here's the thing, SNL doesn't go there unless they think the audience is already halfway there with them. They're not creating the perception. They're cashing in on it. Allegedly, back in Montecito, there was no laughter at all. One insider claims a glass met a countertop harder than it needed to, because Meghan would have understood exactly what that moment meant. Comedy had stopped treating her like a princess and started treating her like a PR product. Hit subscribe. This saga has more layers than Meghan's PR team.
Of Meghan Markle's alleged, rumoured yacht.
Do you think your sister, Meghan Markle, has ruined Prince Harry?
The answer is yes. I mean, every single interview, every single picture, every place they go, Meghan grabs him. Meghan controls him. Meghan tells him no. Meghan stands in front of him. She controls every single situation like she is the...
Now, a joke alone is survivable. Celebrities get mocked every weekend on SNL and move on. What made this different was what came next. Because right as that clip started spreading, another story crawled out of the internet graveyard. The notorious so-called yacht photos. Not grainy club shots, not some random girl from behind with people guessing it's Meghan. We're talking about sun-drenched images on a glossy yacht somewhere along a sparkling European coastline. Designer sunglasses, champagne flutes, perfect hair, glowing skin, luxury cushions, private stuff. And in the centre of it all, a woman who looks very much like Meghan Markle in her pre-royal era.
Just here comes. Reopen British markets for American companies. All that Britain demands in return.
He knows that Meghan Markle was a hoe. He knows that Meghan Markle had a relationship with Prince Andrew. He knows that he is stuck in California. He knows he has wrecked his life with a D-list mattress act.
Now, let's be clear and responsible here. These photos have been passed around online for years. They're endlessly debated, endlessly zoomed in on. There is no official confirmation of the context, the event, or the guest list. But the timing, that's what set people off. Just as Meghan is trying to relaunch herself as the mindful businesswoman, wine brand, lifestyle content, soft focus. I'm just living my truth in California energy. These old yacht images re-enter the chat. And suddenly, the question isn't just, is that Meghan on that boat? It becomes, if this was part of her past, why was it never part of the story we were sold? Because that's what really unsettles people. Not the yacht itself, but what it symbolises. Access, connections, circles most people never even see.
Later in the press conference, a reporter asked Trump about Meghan Markle, and this is what he had to say about her.
I'm not a fan of hers, and she probably has heard that, but I wish a lot of luck to Harry, because he's going to need it.
Wow. Who had Meghan Markle on their random Trump insults bingo card? Anyone? If you're keeping track, Meghan Markle's got beef with the Queen of England and the President of the United States.
And it seems like that lady is a temptress. She's a siren. She's lured him into the rocks.
To understand why those photos hit so hard, you have to remember the version of Meghan we were introduced to. This wasn't born billionaire energy. This was struggling actress, working on Suits, writing the TIG, posting about yoga, wine, pasta, and self-care, selling herself as the relatable, hard-working, independent woman who built everything from scratch. In other words, the girl next door, who happened to be on cable television. So when images start circulating, allegedly from the same general era, showing yacht life, champagne, and circles far above standard TV actress salary level, the internet naturally asks, hang on, how did she get there? Because this wasn't some cheap boat party. This looked like, your name is only on the guest list if someone seriously powerful wants you there territory. And again, we're not saying anything illegal happened. We're not saying any crime took place. We are saying this. If your public brand is I came up the hard way, I built everything alone, and then people see evidence of quiet access to billionaire-adjacent spaces before the palace, they're going to question how complete that story really is. That's what SNL tapped into. Not just Meghan the Duchess, but Meghan the brand. Subscribe now. Even SNL can't script what's coming next. Here's where it gets even more uncomfortable. Because long before this SNL moment, long before the yacht discourse hit mainstream TikTok, there were already whispers. Little online pockets saying Meghan moved in certain elite circles. She had access to certain events, certain parties, certain boats. She was incredibly strategic about where she showed up and who she stood next to. Now, are those whispers proven? No. Are they documented in official records? No. But were they known in certain media and social circles? Yes. And when Meghan became serious with Harry, the palace did what the palace always does with awkward rumour clouds. It quietly opened the umbrella. Old online threads disappeared. Certain stories were never pursued. Certain questions were never asked on record. Because once someone is being positioned as a future duchess, the past has to look tidy. Not perfect, but at least manageable. It's not hard to imagine that anything involving yachts, mystery invitations, or wealthy older company would have been placed firmly in the Do Not Amplify folder. Not because anyone proved it was damning, but because nobody wanted to find out live on the front page. And that's why this latest wave of scrutiny feels so dangerous to Meghan. Not because it's new, but because it's old and refused to die. The jokes, the photos, the speculation, they're not fresh scandals. They're the ghosts of stories that were never fully killed off. Publicly, Meghan did exactly what her team has trained her to do. She said nothing, no statement, no legal threat, no as a mother and a woman Instagram note in pale pink font. Just silence. But according to people who claim to be close to the situation, that silence didn't equal calm. Behind the scenes, the reaction was allegedly intense. Phones out lawyers, consulted PR advisors, pacing team members trying to track where the yacht images were being reposted, and who was amplifying the SNL clip with extra commentary. One supposed insider put it brutally. She didn't know which part to deny without making the rest worse. And that's the trap of a complicated backstory. Once multiple strands start surfacing at the same time, you can't just swat one away without drawing attention to another. If she says nothing, people assume it's true. If she says too much, people ask what she's trying to hide. So she did the one thing celebrities often do when they don't control the narrative. She tried to vanish from it. No pap walks, no staged coffee runs, no casual, just happened to be snapped in a farmer's market photos, just the Montecito gates, and a lot of questions. Stick around and subscribe. Montecito Wi-Fi can't hide everything forever. Whilst Meghan pulled back publicly, people began to notice something else. Harry was quiet, not just on a different schedule quiet, emotionally quiet, energetically absent. The man who once leapt to defend her at every opportunity, calling the press racist, calling headlines dangerous, calling criticism abuse, suddenly wasn't saying much at all. Fewer joint appearances, less visible enthusiasm when they were together, a slightly hollow look in some recent footage that fans and critics both picked up on. Now again, we have to be responsible here. We cannot read a man's mental state from a single screenshot. We cannot diagnose a marriage from a 5-second clip. But we can say this: when old rumours about your partner's past resurface, when comedians are implying there's more to the story, and when online detectives are dissecting footage frame by frame, that is pressure. For Harry, who already walked away from his entire family and country for this relationship, that pressure hits differently. If even a fraction of the gossip swirling around Meghan's pre-royal life has any truth to it, then he's not just defending his wife, he's defending a version of events that might not be as complete as he was led to believe. And that's where sympathy sneaks in, even from people who don't like him. Because what's worse than losing your titles, your home, your role, realising you might not have known the full story you sacrificed them for? Now here's the question that opened this whole video. Why are the palace and most mainstream outlets so reluctant to touch this yacht narrative directly? They'll happily report on the SNL joke, the memes, the culture war aspect of Meghan love versus Meghan hate. But they steer well clear of the deeper online speculation. A few reasons. Legal risk and allegations around someone's past, their private life, their social circles, if unproven, are a minefield. Institutional embarrassment. If Meghan did move in certain circles before Harry, and the palace knew, and waved her through anyway, then admitting that now would make them look either incompetent or complicit. Royal image control. The monarchy doesn't like messy details out in the open. They prefer vague phrases like lessons have been learned and moving forward. So what do? They let other people carry the story. Comedians, YouTubers, podcasters, commentators on social media. The palace can watch from a distance, hands technically clean, whilst the public slowly shifts its perception. No statements needed, no direct comments, just time and silence. Here's the part that really matters, my love. This entire situation, the SNL joke, the yacht images, the online rumours, the silence, isn't just about Meghan's past. It's about the story she built. From the moment she stepped into the royal spotlight, we were sold a very specific narrative. The hard-working actress, the modern feminist, the outsider mistreated by an old, cold institution, the woman who just wanted love, a family, and a little bit of privacy. But the more we see, the more it feels like there were chapters missing. Not necessarily criminal chapters, not necessarily scandal in the legal sense, just parts of her life that don't match the "I was just a simple girl in Toronto, eating pasta and manifesting love" aesthetic. And once people sense a gap between the branding and the backstory, the trust starts to crumble. Because then, every motivational quote sounds rehearsed, every tear looks rehearsed, every interview feels less like confession and more like marketing. That's the real danger for Meghan. Not the yacht photos, not SNL, not even the rumours themselves. It's the creeping feeling in the public mind that says, maybe we were never meant to know the real her. And once that thought takes root, it's very hard to uproot. So where does that leave us? A Saturday Night Live joke, some resurfaced photos, a furious alleged reaction in Montecito, a very quiet prince, and a palace that seems quite content to stay out of the way and let the show run. In the beginning, Meghan's story felt like a fairy tale with sharp edges, a modern woman walking into an ancient institution and shaking it to its core. But now it feels more like a script with missing pages. Pages that the internet keeps trying to find, and that Meghan desperately wishes would stay lost. Maybe one day she'll sit down and tell the whole story. No filters, no PR, no spin. Just the truth, however messy it is. Until then, the jokes will keep coming. The rumours will keep resurfacing. And that carefully polished image will keep being tested every time a new clip, a new photo, a new lost moment appears. Because in the end, my love, fame isn't just about how brightly you shine. It's about what's left when the spotlight turns cold, and the world finally sees you in ordinary light. If you enjoyed this breakdown and you want more UK-style deep dives into the royal circus, make sure you're subscribed, hit like, and let me know in the comments. Do you think Meghan is being unfairly targeted? Or do you think the image she sold the world is finally catching up with her?